Hi guys, so today I wanted to talk about something that's been playing on my mind a little bit for a few months, really ever since I started watching videos of people talking about books, and that's the tendency to rate books. While some people choose to rate books out of 10 or give them a school-style grade of A or B, by far the most common method is the 5-star system that's utilised by Goodreads. So while my thoughts pertain to all of these rating systems, I'm using Goodreads as my reference point because it is by far the most prevalent. And Goodreads really is the Facebook of the book community. It's massively popular and I think it's a really great tool. Looking at the About Us section on their website, I think their aims are really admirable. They want to create a sense of camaraderie and community around books. They want to elicit more discussion and critical thought about books, and they want to recommend you books based on your preferences. All of this is great, but it doesn't even mention the main feature of the Goodreads website and the way it organises its lists and bases its recommendations, its 5-star rating system. I don't use Goodreads myself because personally I don't find the 5-star rating system particularly helpful, either when trying to summarise my own thoughts on a book or looking for a recommendation for a book that I'd like. I feel like I'm missing out on what is generally a really great website, but there's something about this rating system that I just can't get my head around. And it goes without saying that I'm not trying to criticise anyone for whom this method works well. That's great and I wish I was in that camp. When I went onto the About Us section of the Goodreads website, I was hoping to find out more about the 5-star rating system and how you're encouraged to choose what star rating to give your books. What constitutes a 5-star book? And I think more difficult to answer, what constitutes a 3-star book? For me, it's all too subjective to have any real meaning. I tried signing up to the Goodreads website to see if I could make more sense of it, and it seems to suggest that you base your rating on how much you enjoyed the book. This seems quite straightforward, and I think there are quite a lot of books that I could easily categorise in this way. However, there are a lot of books that I personally didn't really love, but I can say with confidence that they are great books. And on the other hand, there are books that I've really enjoyed, but on retrospect, they probably had very little literary merit. For me, it's impossible to distinguish between subjectively how much pleasure a book gave me and how good the book is as objectively as I can judge it. When I signed up to Goodreads, it gives you the option of rating 20 books and then it will give you recommendations based on what you thought of those books. And I noticed that one of the options was The Odyssey by Homer. And this is a prime example of my dilemma, that this is clearly a literary masterpiece, and when I read it I felt a deep appreciation of it, but it didn't give me as much pleasure as a lot of other much less accomplished books. I think if I was a person who exclusively read fantasy, for example, I'd find it easier to create a system that logically made sense for rating books based within this 5-star parameter. There are specific tropes that I would expect in the genre, there are conventions that can be done either well or badly, and I feel like I can judge quite well whether the plot has been executed well. However, I, like the majority of people who read prolifically, and most people who are likely to use Goodreads, read broadly across a wide range of genres and countries and centuries. I just don't know how my enjoyment of Harry Potter can ever be compared to my enjoyment of Anna Karenina. I think most people who enjoy using this rating system would think that I'm overthinking it, and I agree. I don't think it's meant to be this complex, and I do understand why people use this system. The compulsion to categorise things is a really natural one, and I feel it too. I really like to keep track of all the books I've read, and I'm sure Goodreads would make it easier for me to do that. Their star rating is simple, and for most people it clearly works, because if you know your logic behind choosing what star rating to give a book, then you can look at your ratings and easily see which ones you've enjoyed most. That's great, but I don't really understand when I watch a video of someone and they say they gave a book 4 stars. I don't know what I'm meant to make of that. Yes, it makes it much more helpful when they explain exactly why they gave it 4 stars, but the rating itself is totally arbitrary apart from telling me they liked it or they didn't like it. So in short, I feel like I can't come up with a cohesive system for rating books that takes into account the variety of books that I read and offers a fair comparison between them, and equally, hearing other people's ratings doesn't give me much insight either. The whole system just isn't for me. The other thing that I don't find helpful, and this does pertain specifically to Goodreads, is the average rating that's displayed beside the books. Because it just takes a mean of all the ratings, it doesn't differentiate books that get mostly 3-star reviews and books that get a mixture of 1-star and 5-star reviews and are really polarising. It also means that the books that have the highest rating on the website are generally those with a massive following. There tend to be book series, specifically of the young adult genre, and while I don't doubt the reader's adulation for those books, it doesn't really give me a good recommendation for a book that I think I'd like, or a good representation of what I think the best books out there really are. I've been exploring the Goodreads website quite a lot when I've been thinking of making this video, and it has lots of features that I do really like. I particularly like that it tells you new releases, it has lots of lists that would give me great recommendations for new books, and it would let me keep track of my reading. It's just the rating system that I can't get my head around, and I feel like it inhibits my ability to use the website properly. To be fair though, I was a bit ignorant because I only recently realised that you can mark books as read and make shelves without rating them, and I do plan on using those features in the future. To me though, it's a bit of a shame that in a website that prides itself on creating discussion and celebrating diverse opinion, a lot of its features are based on a reductive 5-star system. At this stage I feel like I should be offering an alternative, and to be honest I don't really have one because I don't think there is a way of simply displaying easily accessible data on whether a book is good or bad, enjoyable or boring. I'm not trying to incite a revolution here, I'm just trying to articulate my admittedly quite confused thoughts on the matter. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this topic, whether similar to mine or completely opposite, because I would really like to know how you choose to rate a book if you use that system. And if you don't use Goodreads but you have another rating system that you've come up with yourself, I'd love to hear about that as well. And of course, if you think I'm being really obtuse about the whole thing, please feel free to tell me that as well, because I feel like that's definitely a possibility. But anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. I think it's a really fascinating topic. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!